Hi all, today we'll be talking on RAG. RAG is nothing but a retrieval augmented generation. So RAG is a little advanced concept which is added on top of LLM. So to understand the RAG, so we need to have an understanding on the first LLM. Then we can upgrade our knowledge onto the RAG. So let us jump on to understand what is a LLM. Though we are not covering in depth to explain on the LLM, but we will cover sufficient where we'll give the basic understanding or knowledge on the LLM. So LLM is nothing but artificial intelligence model to understand and generate human languages. So LLMs is pre-trained on a billions or metadata of words which has sentences in a document so that it can generate you the coherent and contextual text for the users. So there is a billions of data which will be processed and trained so that LLMs can give you the human like responses. The classical example of using the LLM is nothing but our chat GPT, right? So let us go to the next slide to see the some of the limitations of the LLMs. So in the LLMs traditional approach, what happens is it's fetch the data from the application or a user where they will query something. It goes to the prompt and prompt will send the data to the LLM for the further processing. But the challenge of what we have here, LLM has a pre-processed and the static data. So it is not going to fetch live data from the websites or the database to provide you the latest contextual answers, right? So it's a pre-trained data which will be processing. So how to overcome of this? Right. So if you have used the chat GPT, at the earlier days of a chat GPT, you might have seen the below messages where it says that as of my last updated information is on 2022. So it is not fetching the live data from the internet and it is processing it. So that's where it has got a limitation. So how we can overcome of this limitation? So that is through a RAG. So RAG, retrieval augmented generation, is a method of NLP, which is a natural language processing that combines the strength of information retrieval and the generation. So information retrieval is nothing but retrieving the data from the documents or the websites or the uh, or database and then processing it and generate the model means it is basically generating you the output. So it has got a three components. So retrieval component, then there is augmentation component, then there is a generation component. So let us see the retrieval component. In the retrieval component, it searches or retrieve the model first, fetches the relevant information from the large knowledge base or the database based upon the input query. So when you query something on the input, initially it will try to fetch the latest information which is available in your customized database or the document. Then it pushes the data onto the LLM system. So in the augmentation, it retrieves the content is then used as a context or a supplement to the material for the generative model. This ensures that the response is generated is more informative, accurate, and relevant to the query. In the generation component, finally it generates a model using both query and the retrieved information. So when you jump on to the next slide, probably it will provide you the more clarity. So here you can see that we have got the three steps here. First one is indexing the pipeline, then retrieving the data from the pipeline, and generator pipeline. So in the first step, this step is something like where you are customizing for an organization or for your personal use. So assume that I have a set of documents. So those documents I wanted to get it processed. Now how I can do that? So initially I put the data in a storage. So it will be extracted. So since it's a raw data, we have to do the data wrangling. So in the data wrangling, we are going to clean the data and put it in a certain structure so that the raw data becomes a little more meaningful without any redundancy in that. Then this large big size data, I mean big size document or a petabyte of a document, we will be chunking it. So we are making in a smaller pieces. Then we'll start embedding it. Embedding is nothing but we are converting this document into the digital formation in terms of numbers. So vector is a different than our traditional database. So vector holds the data in the form of a multidimensional model, right? So this vector database is ready, which is customized for your organization. So whenever the user queries in, the query got encoded, then it go to the data retrieval method. So in the data retrieval method, it gets into your a vector database, and it pulls the documents which are relevant to the your query. So your query plus the relevant document will be pushed onto the retrieved answer. So here we'll be sending the data which is we got it from the vector database plus your prompt query. It will be sent to the LLMs and then we get the final answer. So this is a high level flow what I'm trying to show you. So in the next slide we will be seeing the more pictorial representation or the more structural way or the architecture way of doing the RAG. So here you can see that the RAG is on the top layer, right? The RAG chain is there. So the RAG chain, the user inputs the query. This is already the pre-processed data, this section, right? This section has already a pre-processed data. So whenever we query in, it goes to your vector search and brings the latest information related to your query from your customized database, and then it inputs onto the LLM, then it produces the output. So how it will looks on the Azure. So in the Azure, so initially there is a UI to which you will sending some information for the retrieval purpose. So in Azure we use the AI search where we'll input the data and vectorize it. So already I have got a two trainings on the RAG where I'm showing in a Azure AI Studio that how we have to do the retrieval and vectorization. So you can even go through that. So I'll be adding those link in my description. But however, we can retrieve that information. So when you send the retrieved information along with the prompt, so you'll be getting the desired output. So you can see here prompt plus the knowledge response, right? So you'll be getting the end required result. So I have a complete article in the my LinkedIn profile. There you'll be able to see the entire description of a AI powered custom copilot with the semantic kernel. So around this document, which is a very lengthy and it has got a practical example of writing a code in C#. Around this document is the third video what I'm creating to make you understand the each and every component what we have it on our document. So let me jump on to the whiteboard to explain you more on that. Okay. Okay guys, so we are now on our whiteboard. So probably I will repeat you in a very pictorial presentation that how the RAG works. So in the traditional approach, there is a human or the UI, right, who will be sending a query, right, who will be sending a query. This query goes to the LLM and LLM gives you the output. As I said, this has a static data, right? So it does not contains any latest information which is required. So this is the traditional way of doing it. Now in the RAG, how it works, right? So that is what we are trying to cover in this entire document. So here there is a user, he queries something, right? He needs some information. So it goes to the RAG. So what RAG does, it's try to fetch the information which you needed within your context. So assume that I have HR policies for my organization. So there is a set of document, right? As an HR policy, I will be holding the documents. So these entire document are chunked and stored in a vectorized format in the my ecosystem, right? So what RAG does, it fetches the data from this ecosystem, goes back. Now what it does is it has a combination of your query, which is this query, right, and the information which is fetched from here that will be added here, right? Then the all together it will be sent to LLM. So now LLM will query and your context of the data, then it will provide you the output which will have the more meaningful information, right? So there is a little more advanced concept comes here. Assume that you have got a multiple information of your ecosystem, right? So there is a multiple place where your vectorized data and kept it. Then RAG, how it is going to define whether it is going to get it from one database or second database, or there can be third database from where it can fetch the data. So there is a new concept comes in, that is agentic database. So which I am going to cover in my next video. So stay tuned. be with me so that we can cover more in depth on the RAG. Thank you guys. Hope it's clear. If you have any question, put it in the comment section. Bye. So there is a little more advanced concept comes here. Assume that you have got a multiple information of your ecosystem, right? So there is a multiple place where you vectorized data and kept it. Then RAG, how it is going to define whether it is going to get it from one database or second database, or there can be third database from where it can fetch the data. So there is a new concept comes in, that is agentic database. So which I am going to cover in my next video. So stay tuned, be with me so that we can cover more in depth on the RAG. Thank you guys. Hope it's clear. If you have any question, put it in the comment section. Bye.